So I noticed this ongoing trend with people my age at the moment, people in their 20s. I'm 24, and it's the saying, a lot of young people, we like to say, I'm going to lock in. About to lock in right now. Or school, I got to lock in. It's just like extra focus on the thing that you need to do, right? Well, this is a general blueprint on how to actually lock in your 20s. And let me explain. So, a lot of people, when they say they're going to lock in, they're just going to focus and do more of the same thing that they feel like is actually moving them forward, but isn't actually creating a life that they want. So, let's say person A is working at McDonald's and they know they don't want to be working at McDonald's. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, right? But it is effectively a dead end job, right? I'm assuming, maybe I could be wrong, but more likely than not, this person is, working this job so that they can move on to the next thing. Well, first off, no one is actually going to help you move on to the next thing. You're going to be the one that has to build that bridge or build that door out of said job. So let's say they work at McDonald's, right? And then they're going to say, I'm going to lock in. So let me just work more, right? So the proper way to actually lock in your 20s is to realize that your 20s, that this is the time where you have to take the risk and have to take the bet on yourself to create the life that you actually want. You're officially like an adult and you have a lot more control than you did when you were younger, and you have free reign on how you want your life to turn out, basically. Especially if you're born in the United States, you have a significant predisposition compared to a lot of people that are from third world countries to basically decide your fate right here, right now, where you want to go. So that's a pretty cool thing, pretty cool position to be in overall. So, in terms of actually locking in, you have to look at yourself and reflect and think, okay, where do I want my life to actually go? Okay, and then write that stuff down. And in terms of where your life is right now, write down all the stuff that you don't want. Write down even the things that you don't want in the future, right? What I specifically meant was write down the things that you don't like and the things that you want to pursue. That's actually the way to at least get started in terms of, locking in, I guess. I know I'm spamming that word, but in general, a lot of people, they associate locking in with the hustle culture, right? More is better, like working more, working harder. Yes, working hard is a prerequisite in order to get to the other side of success, right? And for a lot of people, the definition of success is financial freedom while doing something that is meaningful for them. That is the most ideal. It's not really achieving financial freedom, period. It's achieving it and it has some meaning and significance to said person. That's ultimately what a lot of people are looking for. And I would argue pretty much everyone. That's what everyone is looking for. They would rather be working for something that actually represents who they are, right? And I would argue that many people are actually entrepreneurs and business people deep down. And if they could just know how to put their product out or what they can provide the world, everyone would be able to, or everyone would want to go down that route, right? And we have a significant kind of lack of authenticity out there. But I know that we're kind of getting off track now. But again, circling back, if you have a job right now that is a dead end job, to lock in does not mean to pick up more shifts and work more hours in that dead end job, because that's not actually leading to you creating something that represents who you are. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I talk about the 9 to 5, but the 9 to 5 is not a bad thing at all. Okay. And for many people, if they do work a 9 to 5 and they like it, you can stay there, right? That's totally fine. If it's something that actually fuels your soul and you feel passionate about it, right? That's more than fine. I'm not antagonizing the 9 to 5 whatsoever. But for many people, they want that childlike expression of their inner self. They're seeking that and making money off of that. It's a full circle, right? It's the saying where it's like ikigai in Japanese, right? basically it represents like that balance in your life where the thing that you love to do makes you money, but then it also helps others, right? So the primary goal is to figure out what you like to do and then figure out how to get that thing to help other people. Like that's ultimately what you want to do. And by help other people, that could just mean provide value. So in the form of like entertainment, or teach them a skill that you have, or create a product that they can use because of the thing that you're interested in, right? And that's ultimately where I'm trying to point everyone in the right direction, in terms of, if you're in your 20s, now is the time to really experiment with that stuff. And for me, it's honestly creating this YouTube channel, and it's an expression of my inner self coming out. I've always been approached, or not even approached, but I've been in leadership positions in the past, and people have always told me that, I give really good advice in terms of getting people on the right track towards what they actually want to do, no matter what that field might be. I might not even have expertise in it, but if I can just be that little, I guess, gnat in your ear, or that thing that fuels the fire for you to get after what you want to, I'm just going to keep doing that every single day. I'm going to post quite literally every single day, trying to, it doesn't matter for me how many views I get, because if I get 1 or 2 views, that's 1 or 2 more people that's going to get inspired to at least start asking the questions of why am I doing said thing, and then how am I going to get there, right? If working this job is not fueling my soul, okay, let's keep the job so I can pay my bills, pay my tuition, get food, survive, right? But while I'm doing that, so again, 9 to 5, what are you doing in your 5 to 9? That 5 to 9 is being spent trying to build the life that you actually want, and give it an honest effort. Do it every single day for weeks. Sometimes you got to do it for months, and then sometimes you got to do it for years without seeing any results, and then all of a sudden it'll just blow up and become an exponential thing that you just built this thing that you never expected that would actually it would bear fruit in the manner that it does, right? So, but ultimately you have to actually like what you're doing to sustain this consistency. A lot of people, they talk about discipline, they talk about consistency, but I think you have to think about trying to reduce the friction as much as possible when you're sticking to something, right? And what I mean by that is the friction is significantly reduced in terms of staying consistent if you actually like what you're doing, right? If you're trying to force your way through a brick wall, right, or trying to like white knuckle through everything, right, it's not going to be sustainable overall. I tried to do that my whole life. I tried to do that for many things. It is not sustainable. It'll lead to short-term gains, but in the long term, it's not something that you can just keep doing, right? So just to completely circle back, because I know, I get on tangents and then I kind of get off topic, to actually lock in is to find your purpose and to work towards that, right? I want to keep encouraging people to utilize ChatGPT, utilize Gemini, utilize all these new tools to fuel your creativity. You're still creative. It's deep down in there. Like your inner child of creativity is still in there. It's just tucked underneath the corporate political ladder, or not ladder, but the shroud. It's just tucked underneath all that, because you went through all your life stuff, and then you realize, oh man, like maybe I can't chase after my dreams. But I'm telling you right now, your 20s are the time to do it. And even your 30s are still the time to do it, truthfully. Even when you have kids and it's still early on, right? Sometimes you just have to do what you got to do in terms of, working the 9 to 5, but don't leave your dreams just on the pillow. Like literally do not, you'll go through work and you'll be drained, but you got to reignite that passion within you to work towards that thing that you've always wanted to get to, right? If you don't know what that is yet, you have to start experimenting with things that you find interesting, and then try it and then see, okay, I like that. What can I do with that, right? And you literally would ask AI that question. Hey, I really got into cycling. How do I monetize this interest of mine, this thing that I'm innately curious about? And you got YouTube, you got the internet, you have AI. We literally live in a time right now where it's never been easier to become successful in today's day and age. Okay, so if you're in your 20s, again, like now is the prime time to get after it and to just go for the thing that you've always wanted to go for. Okay, Understand why you're doing it and make that why meaningful for you, because that is what's going to sustain your consistency, sorry, and that is what's going to, you know, keep you going, especially when things are low. Like right now, I get low view counts, right? I don't care, you know. If people might eventually hate on me and my videos and what I put out just because of envy or, you know, my success in the future, I don't really care about that, because what I'm putting out right now is just a representation of who I am and me actually trying to create something meaningful for me. Okay. So I highly encourage that whoever's watching this right now, that you get after the same thing, you know, that you decide today's the day that I'm going to actually move towards said thing that I've always wanted to do, okay? And something that I've always wanted to build. Because again, now's the time. There's no better time than today. So they talk about it in investing, and the best time to start was yesterday, and the second best time to start is today. So that's kind of, you know, in a way already, not even kind of, but it's you investing quite literally in yourself and your future happiness. By not going after the thing that makes you feel alive, you are killing that. And you can decide. You are in control. Don't make bills, the pressure of life, society, all these things make you think that you're trapped, because you are not trapped. Okay, I'm going to put out these videos every single day just to remind you that you're not trapped. You can find a solution. We have so many tools nowadays to be able to figure things out. And if you need someone to just kind of bounce ideas off of, feel free to DM me, feel free to comment down below. And, you know, I would do my absolute best to try to figure out your situation and, you know, try to get you out of the rut that you're in. But, you know, if you like this kind of content, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and then comment down below what you guys want to see next. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the one or two people that are consistently watching my stuff. But, you know, that's all we really need. So, all right, I'll catch y'all on the next one.